So I have a confession to make, and that is that I am dual Zimmerman scum. That's right. I, like many others, have gravitated towards this absolutely devastating weapon combo. However, I've been hearing from a lot of people that I'm not really experiencing the game correctly, and that this weapon combo will end up cheating me from the actual experience of Armored Core 6. So after a few days of thinking and a whole lot of copium, I was able to come up with 3 reasons why the dual Zimmerman meta does not cheat you from the Armored Core 6 experience. The first reason being that From Software has always baked in different levels of accessibility into their games. Now, in my bad Armored Core 6 reviews video, I had emphasized the term get good, and some people took a little bit of offense to that, especially seeing the build I was using. Some people even mentioned that I was playing the game in easy mode when I said that there shouldn't be an easy mode in the game. Now, this is where I should clarify. I don't like different levels of difficulty in a game when all they do is spongify the enemies and add a higher health pool or whatnot. I like games that have a base level of consistent challenge for every player. However, From Software has quite cleverly baked in different levels of accessibility into every one of their games. And you, as a From Software fan, need to draw a line in the sand on what level of accessibility you're willing to play at. For example, in Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring, you're able to use summons to help you out with boss fights. For a lot of people, this was a necessary game mechanic to finishing any of those games. However, for me, that was my line in the sand. I have never used a summon to beat any boss in any From Software Souls game. I needed to overcome the challenge myself. Though I may have been using some strong weapons, it still felt necessary for me to draw that line in the sand. So does that make my From Software Souls experience more genuine than the other persons that use summons? Absolutely not. We both beat the same game and we both enjoyed it our own way. Neither one of us is better than either one because that's not how video games work. There is no weird hierarchy that people are making. It's okay to just enjoy games at whatever level you can. Now, that doesn't mean that I want these games to have an easy cinematic mode put into them. Absolutely not. But the developers have a vision of accessibility and they implement it into the game the way they seem fit. If you're able to enjoy the game within the parameters that the developers intended, then I say have at it. Enjoy the game, have fun, and play with it because it's just a game. And I think if some of the more hardcore From Software fans had that outlook also, it would help more new players come to these games. And that actually brings me to my second point. But before we get to that, if you're enjoying the video so far, a like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. You guys have absolutely blown up my channel in the last 7 days, and I cannot begin to express my appreciation for that, so thank you. Alrighty, back to the list. So my second point is that the dual Zimmerman meta is helping new Armored Core players enjoy the game. See, I, like many other people, are experiencing Armored Core for the first time with Armored Core 6. And for some of the Armored Core veterans, it may be hard to remember this, but these games are extremely overwhelming for newcomers. I have never had a third-person action shooter engage my brain as much as Armored Core 6 has. Trying to juggle 4 different weapons while dashing and flying and moving in 3 dimensions is extremely overwhelming, and I found myself getting stomped by the early game bosses. I knew from my experience with other From Software titles that hesitation is defeat. So I knew I wanted a highly mobile build, but I still wanted to hit hard. And of course, being an uber Sekiro nerd, I wanted to do as much impact damage as possible. So I started doing a little bit of experimenting with my build, as you should in Armored Core if you're having a hard time with bosses, or any challenge for that matter. One of the first things that I ended up gravitating towards was the dual Gatling gun combo. I really loved that combo because it did so much damage and staggered opponents extremely quickly. However, the overheating mechanic caught me off guard way too many times, and I just simply wasn't good enough at the game to use them properly. So after a lot of experimenting with a lot of different weapons, I ended up just slowly gravitating towards shotguns. And after the Zimmermans unlocked, I purchased them and put them on and fell in love immediately. They just absolutely wrecked most of the opponents in front of me with the highly mobile playstyle I was going for. And with the spring chicken reverse biped legs, I quickly fell in love. Now the only thing that was left was what I wanted on my shoulders. That definitely took a little bit longer for me to figure out. However, after spending a little bit of time in the arena and getting absolutely wrecked by Ring Candle, I realized that the Songbirds that he was using on his shoulders was the last piece of the puzzle that I needed for my build that I wanted. And boom, just like that, me, an Armored Core noob, had 4 weapons that essentially played like 2 separate weapons since they're on a similar reload and cycle time. Of course I could stagger the shots, but a lot of times I shoot them both at the same time because I'm not very good at Armored Core. I'm still learning. And I'll be the first to say that I'm actually pretty bad at Armored Core, but I was really bad at Dark Souls when I first played it. I was really bad at Sekiro when I first played it. If I had footage of my gameplay from back then, I'm sure I would absolutely laugh at myself in my inability to tackle those games. But that's just the journey, baby. That's what happens when you play From Software games. You have to get good. I'm in the same boat with Armored Core 6. I found something good, and I found something extremely fun, and I'm sticking with it. I was able to beat the entire game with the build, and now I'm moving through New Game Plus at light speed. And guess what? I've been having an absolute blast the entire time. And that actually brings me to my third and final point. And that is that the build is just so much fun. Armored Core 6 is an extremely weighty and kinetic game. You can absolutely feel every single movement that you make with your Armored Core. The sound design of the game, in tandem with the superb art direction, just leads to this absolutely crunchy and explosive experience. Games like Armored Core 6 that have that vibe they deserve to have an absolutely banging shotgun in them, and the Zimmerman absolutely checks that box. The Zimmerman goes blap blap, and the Songbirds go boom boom, and in Armored Core 6, that is the most satisfying thing. I cannot begin to express how fun it is for me to assault boost into every fight and square up with every enemy in the game. It is one of, if not the best, power fantasy that From Software has ever realized in any of their games, and I am just loving every second of it. I just feel too fast and too powerful. I hit way too hard, and it is an amazing expression of a pure mech fantasy. I get to just absolutely feel like Debo while I'm playing this game and steal every boss's chain. But hey, Debo was a pretty toxic guy, so maybe I was just contradicting myself the entire time this video, and this is just my form of copium. You're gonna have to let me know if that's the case in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. And then after that, maybe check out some of my other Armored Core 6 videos here. But until then, I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.